Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about sports massage in comparison with stretching and also foam rolling. I'm asked by clients quite regularly whether sports massage is as effective as foam rolling or stretching. And, certainly the benefits, certainly it promotes enhanced performance, improved recovery, prevention of injury, and improved mobility. So sports massage, foam rollers, and stretching can all have an important role to play in musculoskeletal health, each having their own benefits, but the best option will most likely be dependent on the individual and their particular issue. It's difficult to 100% prove the benefits of massage due to the numerous variables involved, but given its use for so many years, it is clearly beneficial. Experienced therapists will be able to identify issues through palpation of the muscles and provide suitable exercises to reduce the risk of injury by improving strength and flexibility. The problem is that people can be apprehensive about sports massage because it can be painful, but it should only be uncomfortable where there are tight areas, and an experienced therapist will adapt to your tolerance level to ensure the most benefit. So the physical benefits far outweigh, the discomfort felt during the treatment, and that's something that my clients repeatedly acknowledge in their feedback. And while using a foam roller and stretching will absolutely maintain the benefits of a sports massage, as far as I'm concerned, sports massage will always come out on top. Because if nothing else, the surface area of a thumb will always access those, hard to reach spots a lot better than a foam roller can. However, the effectiveness of the massage is always going to be dependent on the skills of the therapist. So again, that's where getting a qualified and experienced therapist is so important. So I'm going to look at the pros and cons of each of these three methods. And you can take on board the information and then decide which method suits you best. Or maybe you're currently using foam rollers, and you can find something out in this video that will help you improve, your technique and improve the effectiveness of using those. So, to start with, we are going to talk about foam rollers. So foam rollers were originally used for support and to work on standing balance by physiotherapists. They can be very effective on the lower body, offering broad myofascial release, but not so much on the upper body, where the large surface area of the roller makes it difficult to work on those smaller knots, especially around the shoulder, joint. Some rollers do have flexible bumps for better muscle penetration. So, they can sort of potentially get into those areas a little better, but it's still not going to be the same as if you come and see me and get my thumb in your shoulders. Foam rolling provides the most benefit, therefore, to those big muscles, the glutes, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the IT bands, the calves, and also the hip flexors. Now, the roller should be rolled under a specific muscle group until you find a tender spot, and then using your own body weight, maintain pressure on the trigger point for 30 to 60 seconds. And by doing this, it aims to relax the muscle by reducing neural tension from the brain into the muscle. So the brain sends a signal to the muscle to tell it to contract. And unless we work to relax the muscle, it will remain tight, resulting in injury, soreness, and reduced range of motion. The muscle spindles within the muscle, which detect changes in the muscle length, send signals to the brain to tell the muscle to contract when they sense the muscle trying to lengthen. And this can cause conflict between the brain and the muscle, which may produce shaking when using a roller. And this is caused by the muscle trying to relax and lengthen, but it will stop once the brain realizes that the muscle can lengthen safely. So, pros of using a roller. Well, it uses your own body weight to increase the level of pressure on the muscles and the fascia. It helps to increase blood flow through the muscle to encourage healing, remove waste, and break down any adhesions around the muscle. It helps to combat DOMS, which is your delayed onset muscle soreness, boosting performance and your energy levels. It aids in muscle recovery and prevention of injuries when used properly, and that's the key. Loosens muscle and fascia, relieving pain and tightness, increasing range of motion and joint integrity. And of course, the benefits are they're cheap. A foam roller can last a lifetime. It's portable, easy, to take off to the gym with you or to work wherever. Easy to use, and it only takes 10 to 15 minutes to get results. But there are some cons to using a foam roller. So the fascia protects joints when muscles aren't working properly in order to protect the body against injury. Now, if the fascia is tight, it's because it's compensating for muscle weakness. So stretching the fascia may actually weaken the overall structure of the muscle system. Also, some muscles tighten to protect other parts of the body from injury. So, for example, in the back. So foam rolling to loosen these muscles can potentially override that protective mechanism of the body and potentially increase the risk of injury. Also, foam rolling can mask other problems that result in injury. If you perform repetitive movements the wrong way, but roll away the warning signs rather than improving your form and your technique or your choice of exercise, you will again increase your risk of injury. As we've said, the foam roller is limited to certain muscle groups. The surface area is only sufficient really for superficial or broad muscles. So, for example, the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the glutes, the triceps, and the lats. Muscles such as the biceps, the pectorals, the trapezius, the small external rotators of the glutes, such as the piriformis, they're going to be really difficult to roller. Potentially a tennis ball, would be easier. Certainly deep muscle tissue requires sports massage. And although foam rollers are more affordable than massage therapy, it's not as much fun as an actual massage. And foam rolling is also, quite uncomfortable during use. It does also need to be done regularly. And, as with anything, you have to have knowledge of how to use it properly in order for it to be effective, and not actually, increase your risk of injury, which is what you're trying to avoid. Most people don't actually know how to use a foam roller. So, they may need a few sessions with a personal trainer, which again can be costly. So So that's your foam rollers. Now I'm going to talk about sports massage and the pros and cons of that. So we know sports massage can restore length and function to muscles that have not sort of trigger points in them, causing reduced movement and pain. So pros of sports massage. Well, it's specific, which is essential in eliminating most muscular pain. It will work on specific attachment points of muscles and tendons, as well as working on that fascia that surrounds the organs and the muscles. As long as you see a qualified and experienced therapist, it's more qualified than a foam roller. Quicker recovery. You can increase the pressure in front of a massage stroke to create a vacuum effect. And this actually releases tension that deprives the muscle of blood and nutrients and oxygen in order to repair and heal itself. You also have the benefit of increased tissue permeability. So massage opens the pores in the tissue membranes, which allows the fluids and nutrients to pass through, removing waste products, lactic acid, and encouraging that intake of oxygen and nutrients to really speed up recovery. It also helps to break down scar tissue due to previous injuries or trauma, which also results in reduced flexibility, increased risk of injury and pain. Massage will also improve tissue elasticity. We know that overtraining can reduce elasticity, but massage really helps to stretch those tissues out. It also improves the microcirculation, increasing the blood flow to the tissues by dilating the blood vessels and allowing nutrients to pass through. Obviously, stretching, massage stretches the tissues, which can't be stretched by usual means. So by this, I mean, in terms of working on those deep down muscles, sports massage can work the muscle tissue in both directions, and also reduce tension in, as I say, in that surrounding fascia. Reduced pain with sports massage. Massage reduces pain caused by tension and build-up of waste products, and also helps release those endorphins, which again can help with pain and help, with your mood and motivation and things like that. There's obviously, to a certain extent, with sports massage, some people find there is an element of relaxation, although it is a very heavy-going massage, but it generates heat and therefore increases the circulation, stretches the muscle tissue, which can cause relaxation as a reflex. And, also will reduce anxiety by inducing this relaxation and releasing, those endorphins. And, there's nothing quite as invigorating as a brisk massage, which can really help improve those energy levels. And certainly a lot of people, a lot of my clients find that this is the case following sports massage. As with, the foam rolling and the stretching, sports massage does have its cons, although I have to say not too many. The main thing really is if the massage therapist is not adequately qualified or registered, then the treatment and the outcome are likely to be poor. So always see a qualified and experienced therapist who knows what they're doing and who is experienced in whatever issue you're having. And if you do that, then really, there aren't many negatives to sports massage. Okay, so the third method that we're going to talk about is stretching. Now, my clients always ask me, if they should stretch, and the answer is yes. But the stretching has to be appropriate for the time and the situation. stretching can be very effective at lengthening a muscle, but many muscles are difficult to stretch due to the movement in a joint and not, react positively often to direct pressure rather than stretching, which again is where your sports massage comes in. If you already have a lot of knots, I would advise having a sports massage to release them and then maintain the muscles with stretching. But there are various forms of stretching, each of which have different uses, and there's also a lot of assumptions made about stretching which actually have little foundation. Now, think about it, we're stretching all of the time. When we stretch, deep lateral rotators when sitting and hip flexors when standing, yet we only believe we're stretching the hip flexors, for example, if we're doing a load of lunges, but we're constantly stretching them. And actually in a lunge position, the stretch will be effective or ineffective dependent on the angle of the pubic bone. So, stretching is also supposed to be a good warm-up activity, preparing the body to move quickly without injury. But actually, if you look at research, it's actually shown no benefit in terms of muscle soreness or injury prevention. And certain types of stretching may reduce the strength or sport performance from 5 to 20%. Those who don't stretch do not automatically get injuries or muscle failure. People don't stretch before they run halfway down the platform at top speed to catch a train. Builders don't stretch before, they carry a load of heavy bricks to the other side of the site. So just because you don't stretch, it doesn't automatically mean, that you're going to get an injury. Just as if you do stretch, it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to walk away completely injury-free. Stretching in terms of yoga and Pilates or sports prep involves taking the stretch to the end range of motion. Yet there's no evidence that this improves the quality of movements in, our daily life, because we don't do many movements in our daily life at the end range of motion. Training tends to be very specific. So, for example, if you're training in a twisting stretch, that is a specific stretch. And again, it may not translate into better motion, in your everyday life. Research does not support stretching as a warm-up or end-of-range stretching for health maintenance, which is interesting because actually a lot of promotion you see on things like Pilates and yoga that do this end-of-range stretching, really sort of sell it as this, health maintenance. You'll be in your everyday activities, it will make you so much, more flexible, but we're not even using that type of motion in our everyday. However, what the research does show is that it does give valid arguments for cooling down and increasing range of motion following exercise when the muscles are more adaptable. However, warmed tissues may accommodate a stretch, but any given exercise will not warm up all muscles. So by pushing the force into an unwarmed tissue, injury will be more likely. So Now, there are different types of stretching, which I'm going to go through now, and again talk about the pros and cons of each type. So the first type of stretching I'm going to talk about is probably the most common, and that's static stretching. So, as I say, it's the most common form of stretching where a relaxed muscle is brought under tension and maintained for a period of time, after which tension slowly decreases. So an example of this could be reaching for the floor while standing with extended knees. So, and trying to touch your toes. Now, the pros of static stretching are that anyone can do it without pressure, to push yourself immediately. It increases range of motion, improves the ability to exercise, improves posture, when used after workout while the muscles are still contracting. Static stretching can really help return the muscles to their original length. It's safe to use because you can take your time and push the muscles to their limits. And it's also better for cramps and pains and aches. Whereas dynamic stretching, which we'll come on to, will actually worsen those problems. Cons of static stretching. So there is an increased risk of injury when performed before strength or endurance training. There's reduced maximum strength when performed before strength training, and also decreased long-term training effect when performed before or during strength training. It reduces muscle capacity. Research actually shows that static stretching reduces the explosiveness of the muscle's capacity to perform workouts, especially when done prior to training. It doesn't prevent injuries. Static stretching involves holding a pose for a given time. It doesn't, it relaxes and lengthens rather than stretches. Dynamic stretches are better to warm the muscles up, particularly when running or jumping. Static stretching also requires time because you need to hold the stretch for 20 to 30 seconds for it to really be effective. Static stretches are quite limited. In that the stretches that you can do for each muscle are limited to its regular range of motion. It can be counterproductive when warming up due to the prolonged stretching. The body tends to cool down, making you warm up ineffective and increasing your risk of injury. It can also be ineffective for certain muscle groups. It can inhibit performance during your workout, as all muscle groups should be warm and loose and flexible. So to get the most out of static stretching, it's really best used during the cool down period after your workout and to help the muscles return to their original state. It will also help you to relax and bring your heart rate down, and can also be useful in increasing range of motion when used within half an hour after finishing strength or endurance training. At this time, the negative effects on performance and risk of injury are no longer relevant, and the muscles are already warmed up. So, next type of stretching is ballistic stretching, which brings the muscles at great length through fast and powerful movements. Now, maximum muscle length is not maintained as with static stretching because the limbs move back immediately. So, for example, if you swing an extended leg forward until the movement is stopped by the muscles reaching their maximum length. So the pros of this, it can be used for warming up. However, there are quite a few cons with this type of stretching. It activates the stretch reflex, so the muscles can't relax and the range of motion does not increase. There's large peak tension on the muscles caused by the powerful bouncing movements, which actually can increase the risk of injury. And also a reduced maximum strength when performed before strength training. So ballistic stretching is generally not recommended apart from as a form of continued warm-up. But I'm now going to talk about dynamic stretching, which uses sport-specific movement to prepare the body for the activity to come, stimulating movements that are important for whatever the activity may be. So it doesn't focus on a single muscle like the static stretching. So it could be, and quite often you'll see, if you watch football players before a match, quite often their warm-up will involve things like lifting one knee as high as possible while walking, and 100-meter sprinters do this as well. It's great for a warm-up. Dynamic stretching actively stretches the muscle within its normal range of motion and is therefore safer than ballistic stretching, which uses speed, of a body part to passively stretch the muscles beyond their normal functioning range of motion, hence increasing the likelihood of injury. So the pros of dynamic stretching are increased range of motion, especially in sport-specific movements, an effective and safe warm-up prior to exercise, small acute increases in maximum strength compared to other stretching methods. The cons, well, dynamic stretching is less effective in increasing range of motion than, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which I will come on to. Dynamic stretching is an effective and safe way of warming muscles up prior to exercise, but it must resemble the exercise that you want to perform. So, and so now finally, the other type of stretching I'm going to talk about is, we've just mentioned it there, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, or PNF. This was originally developed as a way to relax overactive muscles and effective in increasing range of motion. So, for example, passive stretching with the help of a partner, which strongly activates the muscle while the partner makes sure that no movement occurs. And so this is kind of rather like I do with my sports therapy clients sometimes. So basically here on this one, you're actually stretching down that outer thigh. So the client actually performs no movement at all. And it's, myself as the therapist that is, moving the body to perform that stretch. And also so it's like me, I'm offering the resistance in the stretch. And so the muscle then relaxes, which then allows myself as a therapist to passively stretch that muscle even further, maintaining the tension for longer. So the pros of this is, you can usually see large increases in range of motion. And I see this, with sports massage. I'll do a test, say on the hamstrings, before the massage, and then I'll do another one after, and you'll find that you can really increase the range of motion, one through the massage, but also then as you do that stretch, allow it to relax, and then you can usually push a little bit further again, as the muscle is really relaxed. Cons, it requires a partner or a therapist, and there is reduced maximum strength after performing PNF. So the PNF is very helpful in improving range of motion, but it's best done on a non-training day due to the large amount of stress on the muscle. So, and as I say, it can be done as part of a sports massage treatment. So that is your comparison of foam rolling, sports massage and stretching. Quite often people will find a combination of 2 or even 3 of these methods, is the most effective, but it's finding what is right for you. So that's all from me today. As always, do subscribe to my channel. I will have more sports therapy videos coming about muscle injuries and how you can treat them and stretches you can do, and how you can prevent injuries. Do feel free to comment down below or contact me through my Facebook or Instagram, and I would do my very best to answer any questions you might have. But there will be more videos to come, but for now, that is all from me. So I will leave you guys to go and practice your stretching and foam rolling, and I will see you next time. Bye.